Hello, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining, everyone. Today's session is about trying to we are going to give a demo of our product, which is actually intelligent data capture. We had last week we had a session to talk about our intelligent data processing, about their features and all those things, and Satish and Kartik had a session about that. And today's session we'll give a direct live demo, and prior to that we'll just quickly share maybe our we'll explain about the features of what we have it, and then then we'll give a demo, and probably then then we are want to make it as much as interactive. You can post your questions on your web chat, and then we'll get back to all the questions whatever you actually ask for. Thank you. And then Satish, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Yes, Raj. So, can we start with the presentation and further we will go to the screen about the demo?
Sure.
Thank you, Raj. Oh, great. So, Raj, as last week we discussed about how in 5 steps we are going to provide the output either from any type of the input file in terms of an image or a PDF. So, would you like to elaborate further? You want to add more points on that?
That should be good. I think, yeah.
Yeah, okay then. So, as we mentioned earlier, whenever you have an invoice or any other document when you want to extract the data like digitization, how we are going to do is like a configuring is a one-step process, and then once we configure it, we are going to classify the document. Based on the classification, we extract the data, and further we validate and deliver the output. So let me share my screen, Raj.
Sure. So let me, you can go ahead and share your screen. I'll get you live.
Okay, thank you. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes. Now it is
Okay,
visible, Satish.
okay, thank you. So, as we were talking about the tool which we developed to extract the documents, so in 5 step manner. So, this is the first one as a dashboard, which you can see how many documents you added, the type of the document, how many you configured, how many not configured, but you still added as a document as a dashboard, and you processed, which we are going to show it as a dashboard. There are multiple dashboards which are available. So today we are going to show about the invoice. That's the reason I took a different login to show for the invoice. So based on the type of the document, we can always add a document here. We can select the document by providing the name. And we have next step is a configure. There are multiple documents what we configured, which you can see. And the next step is the processing. So while showing the demo, I'm actually open the screen. Normally, the processing is always in the background jobs, but whereas for the demo sake, I want to show in the foreground process rather than the background process how we are going to process the document I want to show. So we have another feature which we added as a data dictionary, which I will brief in a while. Okay, so let me uh, show the configuration process. So we have two different ways which we actually process the document. Some documents you don't need to process a complete file. So that point of time, so we have an auto capture process. So if I select the file and I click on the process. So as a part of a auto capture, what will happen is the user can define their own keywords like invoice number or a purchase order number or a date or any other keyword which you are going to define it as a part of a dictionary. Once you define your own dictionary, so during the auto capture process, it will capture without any further changes in the document which you are going to configure. It will capture all the data as part of auto capture process. So I'm actually accessing from a remote place. There will be a slow little delay in my due to my network and everything. Please bear with me.
Yeah, as we are actually trying to do this one, right? Like, the main thing, one of the great achievements, like, our team has done is actually auto processing, like, which is going to considerably reduce the processing time, like, because the as a user, as a customer, they can go and select what all the fields, like, what they would like to extract, and also they have the flexibility of determining the yeah, even if there are, like, multiple synonyms for that particular each and every field. So yeah, will definitely talk about that, but that is actually gone with a lot of our customers, like, where they saved minimum of 60 to 70% even to try to get that templates to be configured. Yeah, sorry, Satish, like, I just want
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah. No,
fill
yeah,
it up.
thank you, thank you. So I'm just going to click on the preview to show. So as a part of a capturing auto capture, we were able to capture the invoice date, we were able to capture the total, and we were able to capture the invoice number. I'll just maximize this. You can just see the tax invoice, which is 000073776, and you can just see here 000073776. At the same time, the date, you can just see the date. It's a January 1821. I can just see the date January 1821, and you can also see the total, which is in the bottom, like 14180.61, and you can also see here 14180.61. So during this auto capture process, if you define the field as a part of my data dictionary, and automatically those fields will be captured without any further programming and anything. Now I'll move to the data dictionary. I've added a feature called a keyword synonym, and as a part of configuration, you can add your own synonym, and you can define your own keywords also. So for this, actually I created the keywords like a total, invoice, PO number, invoice date. That's the reason which you saw here, like invoice number, invoice date, and the total. So, so in that invoice, I have these three fields which automatically captured, and we are able to display that. So, and as a part of a synonym, you can create unlimited synonyms. Say for example, invoice number, due to the nomenclature for every invoice. You can have your own invoice, and you can define your own synonyms for the invoice. So this way, the auto capture works.
Yeah.
So as a next
So
step,
one more
yeah,
couple
yes,
of things.
Kartik.
One thing, like, I would like to add, Satish, while you are actually going to the other one is, basically this is like, means, we can just define whatever Satish has shown in the data dictionary, like, maybe 8 to 9 fields, but it can be not limited to that 8 to 9 fields. Like, it can be limited to a number of fields, like, whatever it comes in as part of the header, and also, like, where we can go and create the synonyms also. So definitely there is a chance of, like, the user can go and select, so right now he's actually showing it for a invoice, but, like, based on the document type, like, these are all the fields, like, what we get. But tomorrow, like, means, yeah, there may be passport, or like there may be a peer receipt, or like, it might be just a like a PO or anything like that, right? Like, so any for each and every document type, like, we have a list of keywords that's been there, that's completely industry standard keywords, and for that one, like, there is a synonyms also can be added.
Absolutely. Like for the invoice date, you can add any kind of a synonym which you feel it as part of your document. That becomes a predefined data dictionary for you. And while after once you upload the invoice, then as a part of capture process, it collects the data during this auto capture configuration. Okay, so I'm logging with again. Let me process the invoice by selecting. So this is a completely a background process, but I'm going with another login for processing just to show as an invoice. I'll just select, and again I'll select the file. I'll just process. Now we can see the full output of the entire invoice.
Yeah, while we are getting this one, like, yeah, I mean, it's normally, since it's a demo, like, we actually picked up one of the invoice, but when we go to the customer, actually the way that we do is we actually ask them from the live, and we take their invoices, and then, like, we show them the output, that how much of confidence level, like, what we have it. So basically,
Absolutely.
like, it may be PDF or JPEG or any other document type. So probably, like, we can touch base later. But in a demo, like, since, like, we are actually taking one of the invoice here, but in real formats, like, what we do is, like, we take it from the customer itself.
Yeah, absolutely, Raj. So as a output, we can just see the invoice here, and the output is in the JSON format. Sorry, I think I pressed a different one. Give me a minute. For showing the demo, I pressed selecting the bank in error. Give me a minute. Raj, can you give me one more minute? I'll just need to re-log in. Can I stop sharing the screen?
Yeah, yeah, sure, Satish. I know, like, these things will happen, right? So,
Yeah, I just need to. No, I need to re-log in. Nothing other than that.
okay. So while we are actually doing that, like, means I will quickly talk about the SDIP process, right? Like, so what we have done is, like, this one is it's irrespective of English. Like, we have a number of, like, different languages. I think around 30 different languages, whatever the OCR format, like, that's actually going to take it. We actually support all the formats, and also, like, all the regions. Like, we support US, Europe, Africa, man, like, and all the regions. Like, so when we select a region, right, like, then we can apply the currencies, and then, like, we can apply the date formats, and, like, what all the region kind of things, and all those things that can be applied. And the best part is, like, yeah, whatever we have done it, mostly, like, it's around 80 to 90% of accuracy is there. Like, the accuracy point of that's where, like, where we are actually concentrating more. And I think, going forward, a lot of more features, like, in which we have it in pipeline, which we would like to do it.
Absolutely. As what happened was, I was accessing from a different plug in the same file. That's the reason it was not allowing.
Okay, okay,
Okay, let me share my screen again.
sure.
So it's, I think the server is not accessing.
There is an issue with the server, Satish.
Yeah, for me, I think there is some network issue. It's not the server. My network is an issue. I'll relog in. Okay.
Yeah, probably while you are doing that, maybe I can try to explain Satish about the kind of an architecture or something like that.
Yeah,
Should I,
absolutely, absolutely.
while you are actually doing that, let me see. Let me see. Like I'll try to bring in something, and then and we'll
Because I took
explain
two
a
logins
bit
from
more
the
from the architecture perspective and all those things. Yeah. So let me. I'm stopping your screen, and I'm going to share my.
Okay.
One second.
So I know why I had that problem also. Let me explaining that. So what happened was, as a part of an auto configure, access the file from a different login and with an admin,
Hmm.
and as a part of a processing on the same file, I'm accessing from a different login. I thought of showing both logins, but the same file was accessed from multiple
So
logins
do you want to
because
share
of
your
file
screen?
processing.
Do you
Actually,
want?
rebooting my logins and everything. So in it, I
Yeah.
think I'll
I,
be ready.
I think in the meanwhile, I think we saw
I'm
the
good.
question.
Yeah, I'm good.
So is this tool better than regular OCR? Satish, do you want to take
Yeah,
it?
before answering that, let me finish my screen output. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible now. Can you see my screen? So
Yep.
this is an output of the file which I process. It's a pure a file sharing problem happened. So what I did was I moved to a different folder called new folder the file, and from there I access. So actually the orientation also. So it is for us even if it is any orientation of the file like 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or 270 or a regular formats. So we will take care of the orientation as a part of data extraction process. So once we extract, as you are seeing, we provide the output in JSON format. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Raj. So this was purely I was trying to access the file from two different logins, the same file. It was locked by other login that I showed earlier. As you mentioned,
Yes.
Raj, there is a question here about is this tool better than the regular OCR? So, the tool which we developed right now as a part of a document digitization, like where data intelligent capturing and everything, we also use OCR as part of this tool. So, what happens with the regular OCR and what we have done with the AI and ML and NLP and everything, the output of the OCR, we take it and we provide in a structured way. If you take it as a OCR tool, you can just check any OCR tool normally. You can upload a file and the output of the file will not be in a desired format how you want to. So right now, we always can give in the a JSON format, which you know about what is your tax invoice number. If somebody is trying to access the JSON through API, we provide an API. So this can be an ERP or this can be any other database. So you get each and every in a structured way. But OCR gives the data everything by extracting the file or an image. But you need to change everything. And the second one which we are doing right now is the capturing process. You no need to identify what needs to be done. Like we identify what exactly need to be captured as part of your business document. I hope does that answer your question.
Yeah. And apart from that, Satish, one more thing that I would like to add is, yeah. we have the OCR which uses underneath, but like again, and as part of the learning perspective, we use AI ML techniques which we actually make sure that as the same set of invoices coming in, and if there are some changes, like if the user goes and adjusts it while they're trying to do the configuring and all those things, our engine kind of recognizes that, and then so that learning is going to be there as part of our solution. That makes it much
Absolutely.
more accuracy, and that's actually makes it much more faster also.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
So as a part of a demo, so we always, as just now Raj mentioned, if you come up with your own invoices, definitely, which we can show a demo in 5 to 10 minutes, we can just extract your invoice and show the demo.
that's exactly yeah, means that's where where our we don't show normally when we go to the customers and all those things, we actually take that invoices and then we'll try to do that one. So, and the best part, now we are adding a lot more new features, like a lot more new features, and the UI changes also. We're trying to revamp it with much more, with a good industry standard keywords and everything, and then like a way the user are actually going to select it. But at least now the way that we are actually working on is mostly the accuracy, the learning accuracy and AI. Those things we want to make sure like that those things are very much accurate, and where we can go do that one. And then we'll in the next demos, you'll see much more better improvements from usability perspective also. That's actually which is there as part of our pipeline.
Absolutely. So initially, what we thought was it's an accuracy as the main point, and the second is we want to implement the best practices. Like we added the data dictionary. Any point of time depends on the type of the industry, and when they are going to input the document as a best practice, we are going to take all the keywords for the particular industry, what type of a document you are going to upload. It can be an invoice, it can be bills, or it can be travel documents, or it can be any business document which you want to capture the data further for your ERPs or any other database or a CRM which you want to provide the input from the digital documents. So, as a best practice, we are adding the keywords, and at any point of time, every end user also can add their own keywords with the role which we are going to provide to them. And further, the accuracy is the main point. That was right now which we have done.
Yeah,
Yes, the trial version is available right now, and it need to be not as a publicly we are providing the trial version. If anyone asks us by sending a mail, definitely we provide an access to them. Yeah, that's the one of the question which is there a trial version available, which I saw as a question. Okay.
yeah,
Yes, Raj, I think you were showing about the architecture, and one of the point which is something like we access the file right now, which you saw from my desktop, but file can be anywhere. Always in the background job it works.
yeah. So I know there will be a lot of questions, especially onto the whether this particular tool is on a cloud based or onto the on premise or something like that. The one that whatever we have made is actually, we can make it as on premise also, but very much interested because of the scalability versions and all those things, we want to make sure it's actually going to be cloud based. Yeah, means which the reason, one of the reasons why we want to use it is because of the scalabilities, and also where we can apply different lambda services. I mean, if you guys are not much familiar with this is kind of like architecture, the simple architecture, the way that how we have it for AWS, for our SD publication. So the invoice can be coming in from email, or the customer can drop in the file onto an FTP folder, or they can drop it at somewhere on the client specific S3 folders, or means, yeah, they have their own AP automation portal, means which they can go and upload the invoices directly to our intelligent data processing tool also. So the way that we do is like, we actually make sure that these things will be taken, like I mentioned, using the Lambda services, and we store the files in here. So the best part of this one, like, when we are actually using it, when we use this particular Lambda services, this can go and in a auto scaling group kind of things, where it can go and create its own instances of the APIs, and they're like, where it can be accessible. So if there are multiple, so we have tested like, with sending it like 1,000 invoices, like, as a bulk test, like, coming from a different customers and all those things. The way that it actually works is like, it actually goes to the Amazon, and like, it actually creates that APIs. And once it actually creates the API, and like, it actually does the processing, asynchronous processing, and get back to the result. So the result, whatever we do have, it is like, it can be, the result is as Satish has shown just now. It can be as an API based, or like, means a JSON format. And also like, we have a different formats, like, which we do have it. Some of the customers do ask it for Excel based formats. Yes, like, we do provide that. And some of them, like, directly has some integrations, like, maybe to the AP automation portal, or like an ERP also. Means it's all like, the partners can able to go and do that one. That's a partnering enable network, like, to actually take care of it. But from the output side of it, like, means, yeah, we can take it, and also like, we, the automatic corrections and all those things also can be done. So that's kind of like,
Yes, right.
yeah, one of the main architecture kind of things, like, which we are actually like, working on now, where this particular portion is, like, the where we can have it like as multiple APIs that can be invoked at a single time, and where we can process multiple documents at a single time.
Yeah. Thanks, Raj. Just wanted to add one more point here. The source can be anything, as we just mentioned earlier. It can be from an email. We extract automatically from an email and we push the documents to a folder, or it can be an FTP folder, or it can be from the S3 bucket, or if you are going to provide API automation portal kind of any other portal. So we can take the files from that kind of the portal directory, and further we process and we provide the output. It can be an API in the JSON format, or sometimes users want to see the output in the Excel format. Yes, we do provide in the Excel format. So
Mhm.
that's easy sometimes for the finance people to check the validations by looking into, yeah, randomly to check. So we do that also.
Yeah. So any other questions?
I was seeing some other questions, but when I moved to full screen mode, I think I missed that.
Oh, okay, okay. If you guys have any questions, can you please post it, so that, like, we can definitely um, answer,
So
like,
yeah, I want to answer some of the regular questions which as a part of a when we are talking to the customer demos and everything. So one is the security as a main important
yeah.
point which I want to discuss right now. So we provide the security how AWS provide to us. Okay, so it's the same security is provided. And the second way which we are going to say is, if we are going to come up with an API automation portal, then the security discussion will be completely different. Whereas when we are talking about digitization documents, we are not going to store any data from any document. That's what which I want to share this point today. We only store the document name. We are not going to store any document based data. So our
Mhm.
database only contains the file name and what is that vendor as a configuration which we maintain, like which you saw right now as one of the vendor, which the vendor name, the only the vendor name and the vendor file name. So how this works for us is we access the file from the FTP or from the S3 bucket or from the source location, and we give the data back to that particular location. If it is an API, it goes to the business system. If it is a file like an Excel, we put it back the data in that S3 bucket or in FTP folder, or we can send it in an email. If it is not large amount of files, it's easy. Even we can send it in emails also continuously.
Yeah.
So that way we are maintaining the security here.
Yeah, means each and every data, like whatever we actually store it, like it's going to be completely encrypted with the 256-bit encryption, like that is going to be there. And also, like we do have the certifications available, like for all the data security related things. So we make sure that, like your data is kind of secured if we have it, like whatever the data that we have it. But for example, for SDIP, for our intelligent data capture tool, like means which it's actually stored, means yeah, there is not much data, like which are actually stored. But even if there is some data that is stored, like we have that certifications that to be done, and which our tool is actually getting audited, like every 6 months or every quarter, like we have a regular audits that be coming in, like for external auditing that will be done. And then, like so to make sure to ensure your data is secure. And as you all know that, like means coming back to AWS, the reason, like we actually choose one of the cloud provider also is because they do have it, like their own kind of good security level of measurements and everything. So logins and like data and all those things are very, very critical, and which we take it, like with a pride of encrypting and, like decrypting, like when you are actually trying to do that. And apart from that, like means yeah, one more thing, like I would like to add is based on the regions. For example, like Europe has its own this one, so like the data should not be this one. So, like we actually host it, like in kind of Europe. And like when we are actually kind of coming onto US, North America, like only our SDIP APIs and those things will be hosted only kind of from North America, so that, like the data is to remain in the region itself, like so that it's going to have all the compliance related kind of all those things also. Yeah.
Yes. So if
So
you have any more questions, we can.
Satish, like maybe I want to ask maybe one more question, like maybe just
Yep.
to, like because I want to make sure that these are common questions. Accuracy, right? Like how much of accuracy that, like you can claim, and at least what is the limitations, or like what is the best things, like while using our tool.
So it's a standard OCR, as one of the question earlier which you mentioned how the OCR tools really works. So the inbuilt is always a OCR engine. When it comes to the accuracy, if you have an image file, we always recommend 300 dpi and above. That's the OCR recommendation, not even for us actually as a tool. Less than a 300 dpi is always a less accuracy. If you have a DPI file in the image, 300 dpi and above, then I will just say 90 to 99% of the accuracy over a period of time. When it is a PDF file, it's a system generated file, so accuracy is always more than what the image when we are going to do. So that way the accuracy we normally. But over a period of time, even the 300 dpi, sometimes there will be a disturbance in the image. So over a period of time, actually, once we find 50 documents or 100 documents, then accuracy will be more than 95% also for the images.
Yeah. Good,
Because
good,
we
good.
know what exactly the vendor invoices, the formats, everything, how it is come.
Yeah, that's good. I remember, like you saying, Satish, especially for PDF documents and all those things, we kind of not use the traditional OCR, but like we don't convert from PDF to image, and but like where we are actually trying to get it from directly from PDF, so that like accuracy is a lot more better, right? Like means not sure. I think
Absolutely,
but
absolutely. See, so when it comes to a PDF, if the customer is using a big ERPs or any ERP like the top 10 games in the market, when they are So when they are generating an invoice, it's a system generated invoice. System generated invoice actually have a better quality, and automatically the extraction process of the better quality as well as the format of the PDF, the extraction, how we do the extraction is completely different when it comes to the image. That way, always the quality will be better when it comes to PDF. So most of
Yeah.
the tools in the market normally goes with the PDF extraction. So the tough part is image extraction. So we achieved that first, then we went to the PDF to go with further. So right now, when it is a PDF, I'll just say 99% PDF extraction will happen. Whereas an image, I'll just say 90 to 99% accurately we can do the extraction even for the image. Depends on the DPI which we have.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. And also, like, I think, the one good thing, like, what we have done is, even from, there are standard invoices or like something like that, like, from QuickBooks, Tallies, and all those things, and which we have it like already being configured and everything is being there. And then, like, which the users, if they have it, they don't even need to do the auto configure or anything like that. All the fields in that particular invoices will be automatically extracted, right? So that feature, like, in which we have it, because when we have
Absolutely.
actually saw that the 70 to 80% of invoices coming from these accounting softwares, like, where they don't need to go to the tool and do the configuration and all that stuff, that can be done, I guess, right? So that's also one
Absolutely.
best feature. So that is the reason, like, I
The,
try to build up the PDF. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead,
yeah,
Satish. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Raj. As you just mentioned, the standard forms like an invoice forms from the QuickBooks or from Oracle or SAP or even any other accounting. So all these actually invoice normally will have a predefined forms. If we have it, then you no need to change anything. Automatically, the data will be captured and will be provided to output. So some point of time, every customer will modify as per their own design. So that point of time, as I just mentioned, rather than the auto config, we have a config process, reconfiguration actually. You just need to go and edit some of the grids which we may having as a table. So some may be having a 4 grid or some may be having a 5 grid. That you need to edit the grid and further it will be processed.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. That's actually, even when we talk to the customer, that 60 to 70% of the invoices comes from this accounting standard. So which is, one is, like, with the auto configuring, we are actually saving time, and also, like, by adding keywords and synonyms, like, we are actually saving some time. And now with this kind of a automatically capturing of all the standard related accounting softwares, like, the invoices coming in, like, we are actually saving much more time, like, which can be go through end-to-end process also with it with even
Absolutely.
better accuracy. So yeah.
So one of the point in the previous call also, Raj, which I mentioned, with our tool, the configuration is with the end user, not with the developers. So it is completely with the end user. If any customer wants for the demo, we can just provide our remote control to them as a system, and we can just tell them in 10 minutes how to configure the document. So it's not with us, it is completely with the end users. They can take maximum of 10 to 15 minutes time to complete the configuration.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is the power of, like, giving the end users the flexibility and everything. Even there are new template comes in, new countries comes in, new languages comes in from the new vendors and all those things. They have the power of, like, once that this contract can be done, and like, so they can go and take care of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a one-time configuration if any changes are there.
Perfect. 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 Yeah. So I think, yeah, we are running out of time. So anyone has any questions? Any questions? Okay, that's probably, like, if we are done. And like, Vinci, you can always reach out to us, like, you can ask us offline the questions, and we are happy to reach out to you. And also, like, if anybody is interested with the live sessions again, and then, like, maybe have a trial versions, let us know. We're happy to provide you all that information, and we can just within 10 minutes, you can be the masters of your own templates and able to get those things done. Thank you, Satish, for your
Thank you,
wonderful,
Raj. Thank you,
information
Raj.
and
Thanks for
everything.
your.
Thanks. Yep.
Thank you,
Bye.
thank you for
Bye,
getting me on.
everyone.